I guess depending on how you say
Perfect.
salmon, but yeah.
And how about the name of your company?
Inca. So our
Yes.
website is Get Inca, and our company is just Inca.
Fantastic. Okay, so
Mhm.
Amen, I'm going to say my spiel and then I'm
Mhm.
going to introduce you to the show and then we'll just have a
Okay,
chat.
sure. Quick question on the show: Are do you do video on the show too, or is the video? I think you might have already answered this.
Yeah, it's just
Do you do like a
audio.
YouTube video after? Okay, cool.
It's just audio for
Okay.
right now.
I didn't
But
know
we
if I
do.
was gonna have to. I didn't know if I was gonna have to apologize to your listeners for my exposed beams. You know.
Oh, that's okay. And I love the photo of was Jesus back then.
Yeah, yeah. He's right there, and keeping it all good in here, keeping the
Love
vibes
it.
right.
I love it. It's nice
Mhm.
to see that you've got your head straight.
I try to. I don't know. Who knows if it's straight, but I try. So.
Well, having faith, it's important. It's really
Mhm.
crucial for individuals, right? Well, whatever people believe in. So
I agree.
good. At least I know someone's watching over you now. I feel good about that,
Yeah.
Ammon.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, hold on.
Okay.
Welcome to the Go Legal Yourself podcast. I'm your host and legal friend, Attorney Kelly Bagla, the Queen of Business Law. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Ammon Collins. Ammon is the founder of Inca, which turns missed calls into new customers. Now, who wouldn't want that? Welcome to the show, Ammon.
Kelly, thanks so much for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. Very unique name. Ammon. Where did that come from?
It's actually a biblical name, and it's one of the lesser known, but it's in the Old Testament, in like I think the Book of Kings. So yeah, I should do more research on my name. It probably has some like Hebrew significance and stuff, but I don't. I just know it's in the Bible.
Oh, perfect.
Where did
Perfect.
where did Kelly
Um,
come from?
well, Kelly is a Celtic name and it means
Hmm.
warrior.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
Kelly.
Yeah. Look at you trying to trip me up
You
there,
got
right, Ammon?
it.
You better try harder. And my surname, Bagla, right? That means swan. So I'm a fighting swan.
You're a warrior swan. Don't
Exactly.
don't mess with Kelly Bagler.
My husband calls me a fighting chicken.
Beautiful.
But yes, so you'll definitely have to come back on the show at some point and tell us the origins of your name.
Absolutely.
And just as unique as your name, the name of your company, Inca, is unique too. Does that stand for
Mhm.
something?
Inca is a reference to the it's actually a reference to the Incan indigenous tribes in South America. So our platform, basically, like our company is it's a texting platform with certain capabilities that help with missed calls and these other things that increase, revenue and help with marketing and stuff like that. But the reason that, just to kind of circle back on Inca, so the Incans actually had this really unique messaging system. They didn't have a written language, so they set up like stations of runners, and each runner would run for about a mile to 2 miles, and they would pass the message orally to the next runner, and they could communicate like that. They could go about 250 miles in a day with one message. So
Wow.
I was just like, I was reading that one day and I was like, that's really cool. And we do messaging. So that's kind of, it was good. And it's a short name. I like short names too. Inca's nice and short.
Yes, that people remember, right? It's
Yeah,
important in marketing. But before we dive into exactly what you do you have an attorney joke or a quote to share with us?
I actually do. So when I was a kid, my mom, she always, like, the only magazine we ever had in our house was the Reader's Digest. So I think my humor is very Reader's Digest-y. Um,
Yes.
but I was reading, there's one that I found the other day. It was funny. So the title of this little excerpt is "A Little Too Literal." And Here's how it goes. It says, if you're interested in becoming a lawyer, you'll need a degree. But as these court transcripts reveal, the question is, in what? So, attorney, how was your first marriage terminated? Witness, by death. Attorney, and by whose death was it terminated? Witness, guess.
I know.
Oh, I thought that was funny.
That is funny. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. So, Ammon, great businesses, right, start with someone experiencing a bad service, right? And something very similar happened to you too. Share your entrepreneurial story with us.
So I think my story is, this experience, I guess, is similar to a lot of people's. There was one day where my car needed some service. It broke down, and I was calling different auto shops, and I had to call like 4 shops before somebody actually picked up the phone. And I thought, and it was during business hours. I thought, wow, that was odd. And I started to notice that, during business hours, I mean, it wasn't uncommon necessarily for a business to miss my call. And I thought, there's probably a real simple fix for this. And I'm not going to say like our solution is the end all be all to missed calls, but it definitely helps. Um, so when I noticed that my calls were missed that one day, and then I just started thinking about it more, I was like, well, everybody likes to text these days. Everybody's into texting. Why don't we just make it so that, if you miss a call, then a text message automatically goes out. And then it kind of blossomed from there, because lawyers like to use answering services. A lot of them do, a lot of them don't, but a lot of them have answering services. But we still are able to combine that text even with the answering services. And it's been really impactful how many more people will text back than leave a voicemail. So that's kind of my journey was started with noticing that was a problem, and just kind of being like, okay, like, what's the easiest way to have an impact on that? And I thought, texting is super easy, so let's start there.
Is this your first business you've ever started?
No, my first ever business was a window washing company, actually. So I washed
Fantastic. How
windows
old are
through.
you?
I'm 29. Um, it's crazy. I'll be 30 next year, which is, yeah, wild to be out of the 20s. I'm excited. But yeah, the window washing business got me through a couple years of college, and then I did some other stuff after that and landed on this, so it's been good.
So you've always had the entrepreneurial spirit in you. Is that where did you get that from? Because I know they don't teach it in school.
Right. Yeah. I I think one of the reasons is that I'm a terrible employee. I hate to
Yeah.
I am not good at having a manager or a boss. So that was, by nature, kind of forced me to, be a little more like, okay, if I don't like that, then I've, got to work for myself then, I guess. But I actually, well, my first business that I started was the window washing company, but I did actually raise cows. I grew up on a farm in Washington, and I raised cows from, like, I think I started when I was like 12 or 13. And it felt good to, I love the feeling of providing a service for somebody that you created.
Hmm. Hmm.
I've worked for people too, and I've sold products for other companies and stuff like that. And it's fun to make a sale, but there's a different feeling when you sell somebody something that you made.
That you're
I really like
vested
that.
in.
I
Yes.
I really enjoy that. So that's kind of what, I guess, really got me into the entrepreneurial spirit.
I mean, most entrepreneurs, they're really, really bad employees.
Yeah.
They really are. And so I think it's fantastic that you've started at such a young age, and this is your second business, right? Well, you're raising cows, and then you went into window washing, and then now you've started Inca. So
Mhm.
tell me about the service of Inca, and who can you help?
So our service is really applicable to any small business. I mean, we focus on lawyers. That's been, I feel like as an entrepreneur, I feel like I've had more success, and my company has, when we've focused on one group, because then we can, develop some expertise and, get to know some of the players in the game, and just kind of entrench ourselves in that group. I like that more. But so Inca started out with salons, with hair salons. Um, and then COVID hit, and salons had to like basically close down, and all of our customers were freaking out because they didn't have any clients coming in and stuff. And so I thought, shoot, we need to find a different market. So let's go ahead and find one that's not affected by COVID or any of these external factors like that. And so lawyers were great for that. People get in car accidents, they need an attorney for personal injury attorney, or people die and they need estate planning. So there's different things, but Inca really can apply to any business, because it does it like, I guess our main value proposition is we just increase the chances. We increase the chances of somebody becoming a customer for you if you miss their call. And we also make it so that you have that line of communication with your customers that's texting. uh when email first came out, everybody got emails, and then the email became huge for communication, and texting is huge, but it's not as big yet as it's going to be. I think it's going to be 10 times as big in the next 5 years for businesses. So yeah, our service applies to any business that wants to communicate with their customers through texting and wants to have an impact on their missed calls.
I think that's a fantastic service. The reason being is because, especially with lawyers, we don't deliberately not pick up our phones, right? We really don't. The ones that are serious about their business. But it's usually either we're in a client meeting and we can't
Right.
get to the phone, or we're in some other meeting, or for litigators, they're in court
Yeah.
and they can't get to their phones. But they can read the text, right, as it's coming through, and then maybe can step out and say, this is really important, I have to get back to you. So it really reduces the rate of your clients missing a potential sale.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you. And so I just set up an office yesterday out in California. They're in Redding. And his main thing with it was, he didn't so a lot of our customers don't actually set up the missed call portion. They just want a texting platform. His main thing was, if he gave his phone number, his personal cell number, to a client, all of a sudden they forgot they had an office number. They're only calling his personal cell. So what's cool about our system is we can actually use your same number that your office has for your texting. And then when you text them through the app on your cell phone, or text them through the computer, because you can do it desktop or mobile, if you're texting a client through the app, it shows up on their phone as your office number, even though you're texting from your cell phone on the app. So that's a huge thing too. Like,
It
yeah,
is.
attorneys don't try and miss calls. Nobody tries to miss calls. But another huge thing is, if you want to text somebody, it's kind of risky to use your personal number on that.
And sometimes we've got compliance issues as well,
Right.
with, especially in the legal field. And so the fact that you're able to text from a laptop where you've got records that you can keep hold of, that's just brilliant. I think you've thought of everything as far as trying to capture that potential sale. How long have how long has Inca been around?
Inca has been around for a little over 2 years now.
Okay.
So yeah,
And you can literally do business around the world. It doesn't have to be just the US.
it doesn't just have to be the U.S. Right now, we are primarily in the U.S., but we have a couple firms out in the UK that we work with.
Well, lucky for you, Ammon, this show has gone international. It's been international for a
Congratulations,
while.
Tony.
Yes, thank you very much. See, I'm here to serve you, so you're welcome.
Thank you. You're doing a great job at it. Congratulations. How long have you been doing your podcast? I'm curious.
Oh, the podcast. Let's have a look. Go Legal Yourself was born about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And I started the podcast about 3 years ago. And then I took a year off,
Mm-hmm.
just to sort of do some planning, right? Get the business back on track, really focus, just like you did, sort of focus on who is it that I'm serving, who would I like to help.
Right.
And it truly is just entrepreneurs. I mean, it's as a business attorney, that's all I do is I help entrepreneurs with their business legal life cycle, right? The business goes through stages. It goes through the startup stage, the growth stage, and then eventually the exit phase. And I I'm not just a business attorney, I'm an actual entrepreneur myself. I
That's
have
wonderful.
two businesses, so I completely understand when an entrepreneur comes to me and says, Kelly, I want to start a business. I have no idea. What do I need to do? Where do I need to go? I talk their language, right? I speak to
Right.
them as if I've been in their shoes. And so I understand their budgeting issues. I understand that some of them don't know the roles or the different hats that they have to wear, especially when you're starting out as a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We all have to wear multiple hats. And
Mm-hmm.
then eventually, how do you capture your experience or your expertise that you can pass on to someone else? Because now your business is growing and your focus is needed elsewhere. So that there's it's really become a passion of mine to help entrepreneurs, succeed in business. And the only way they can really do that is if they do have a solid legal foundation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like building a house, right? If you build it on shaky ground, one little nudge or one little earthquake is going to come down
Mm-hmm.
crumbling, and nobody wants that, especially when they put in hard work in building their own business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what has your experience been in starting your business and running it?
Oh man, that
It's a
I
loaded
mean,
question, I
yeah,
know.
there's so much. Well, it's overall been a very positive experience. I'm overall just very grateful that I've been able to meet the people I've met, work with the individuals that I work with at this point, serve the customers that, some of the customers that I work with, they're awesome. They're truly my friends. Um, and yeah, it's been a great experience. I mean, it has had, definitely challenges. I mean, we're a software company. To get our product built was an absolute nightmare. Um, because I have a partner. My partner and I wanted to obviously do it as economically as possible. And, we weren't sure if this was going to take off or anything. So we were like, well, we don't want to pour a bunch of money into something that's not going to work. So, we worked with a number of developers that just because, your developer is cheap doesn't mean that your project is going to be cheap. You're going to waste time with them and then have to pay that same money to somebody else. So we did that about 4 times.
Oh boy.
Um,
Yeah,
so development was extremely difficult for us. Marketing is like our hurdle right now that we're attacking now that we've had development done for a while. But it's always, there's always something, it's there. If you look long enough, you'll find lots of things that you can work on in your business.
absolutely. Again, I'm here for you, right? So if you download the app, Go Legal Yourself on
Hmm.
your, from your app stores,
Right.
and have a look at my past guests, because this is what I do. I interview guests that are um, doing extremely well in their industries. They share their experiences with us. They share, valuable information. And I have interviewed a lot of marketing people. And so feel free to go through that list and reach out to them directly as well and say, I was on the show with Kelly, and Kelly, obviously you were on the show with Kelly, and
Absolutely.
I'd love to pick your brain, because all of the guests that I've interviewed, they truly are givers. They do this because they love what they do. And
Yeah.
I love what I do, so it doesn't feel like a job, right? When you love something, you just want to do it automatically. And one thing I really enjoy doing is connecting people as well, that I think can benefit from one, knowing each other and helping each other as well. And if you want a introduction to any of my guests, go through the list. You can either reach out to them or let me know. I'll be happy to introduce you, because I've had some fantastic ones that do some brilliant marketing, especially for
I
startups.
Yeah, I will probably take you up on that.
Yeah, you should do.
Yeah.
And then I also want to introduce you to another fantastic friend of mine. He has a podcast. He's in England, and the
Hmm.
podcast is called Legally Speaking. His name is Rob Hanna, and he interviews a lot of attorneys everywhere around the world. So I think you would be a fantastic resource for him
Hmm.
and to be on the show, because his show is rated, I think it's number 2 or 3. Um, it's pretty high up there. And so I'd be happy to make that introduction to Robert Hanna for you.
That would be excellent.
Yeah,
I am
yeah. Uh,
writing that down right now.
share with us, Ammon, share some of the challenges that you're going through as a startup.
Um, let's see some of the challenges currently that we're going through.
Yes.
So, I would say, well, one challenge that we are, I don't know when this podcast will be aired, but it will hopefully, this challenge will be overcome by the time that the podcast is aired. But this is just an example of something that we're working on. Is typically what we've been doing for our new sales that come in and stuff is every time we will schedule we'll schedule a meeting over Zoom, and then we'll show them the product on Zoom, and then go from there. um, what we're moving to do is have all of that automated so that somebody can do it on their own time, and sign up by themselves right on our website. So that should be done by the time this goes live, if this goes live in like 2 weeks or more. um, and that's one thing that we noticed, uh, because we track our Google Analytics and stuff and see how long people are staying on our site, and what they're clicking on and stuff like that. So that's one thing where we noticed we could improve, is having a sign up process on our website. So that was a challenge for just to get that going in itself, and to decide on the pricing and make sure it's not something that's going to turn people away, stuff like that. um but when I say
He's,
marketing, go ahead.
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, because I brought up marketing earlier. When I say marketing, um our challenge with marketing, there's a couple sides to it. You know I think we get the most traction from working with marketing groups like yourself, or like consulting companies. That's where we get the most traction, I think, because to me it seems like lawyers don't like to be approached by someone who they don't already know. A lot of people are like that, but I think lawyers are even more so. Like, if they don't see you as an expert in your field, then they're probably not going to work with you from like a sales standpoint. Like cold calling lawyers and cold calling dentists is a totally different game.
Right.
You can cold call dentists, you can cold call chiropractors, you can cold call people in the medical industry like that. Lawyers, it doesn't work very well to do the cold call aspect approach. So that really does transfer into marketing. Like we've experimented with inside sales with lawyers, and calling offices and pitching them on the phone and stuff like that. And then we've also experimented with just working with those marketing groups, and being kind of their texting platform that they recommend, and that has been infinitely better. But we're still trying to find, where can we get the most reach to our audience, and with Google's great, but texting platform, if you search that in Google, I mean, that's a massively broad keyword.
Hmm.
And we want to be obviously more niche than that, because ours is more for law, and and missed call texting as a keyword is very low search. Like there's like hardly anybody that searches for missed call texting, because
Hmm.
it's not really a problem that people know. Like, they know it exists, but there's not like a lot of solutions out there for it, so people aren't searching for it. So that's the thing with missed call texting. Like, our business in general is like that. If that's our, not all our firms use the missed call texting portion. A lot of them just use it for texting in general. But not a lot of people search for that problem because it's not like a well-known solution. So people aren't really searching for it.
I was
So
just
that's
going to say that.
kind of the market.
Exactly. So you're sitting on a product that is valuable to your niche market, which are attorneys, right? But we
Mhm,
don't know, we don't necessarily know that your product exists. That was one of the
mhm,
issues that I was having with another client of mine. They've got a fantastic product, but they don't know, the world doesn't know that the product exists. So
mhm,
for you, at least you've narrowed it down to your niche market, attorneys. So where do attorneys network, right? So you start thinking about, well, where do attorneys network? They're at bar associations, right? Depending on where you are,
mhm,
you can always advertise in their monthly newsletter. You can
mhm,
actually go straight to the state bar's website to
mhm,
become a sponsored provider.
mhm,
You can actually go to trade shows for attorneys. There are many avenues that are open to you, but you're absolutely right. If you call a lawyer and try to sell them something over the phone, you're not going to get much success. Reason being is because time is everything to us, right?
mhm,
It's I don't have time to sit here for you to sell me something. But what I will respond to is if you maybe get their email address or call the office and talk to the gatekeeper. There's always a gatekeeper sometimes, right? Talk
mhm.
to the gatekeeper and say, is it okay if I get so and so's email? I'd love to send them something just to help them with their business. I have a solution that could help with your business. So you approach it that way. Um,
Mhm.
I've interviewed marketers. I've interviewed people that are in marketing and how they sort of find different ways to get their product in front of their target market. But as a lawyer, I can share with you. I mean, you can definitely look into where attorneys hang out. That would
That's a
be your
good idea.
starting point. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good idea. And we, early on we were looking at the bar newsletter and stuff like that, but we decided to go a different way. At that time we weren't like fully, thinking, okay, lawyers are our market for sure. So that might be something that we come back to though. That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
especially when we start to attend events again, right? So there's going to
Oh,
be some
I
legal
can't
trade
wait for
shows.
events.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I know. And I
events are
think,
awesome.
yeah, exactly. And I think when somebody sees you with a booth there, they're more inclined to walk up to you and say, well, what do you do? How can you help my life become easier, right? And that's
Mhm.
when you show them your product. But is there anything else, I mean, that you would like to share with my friends that are listening?
Well, if your friends that are listening are entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs, what I would share is just, to encouragement. Like it's a hard road, and I totally get that. But congratulations for where you're at, and keep listening to Kelly because she's got good advice. But I think it's totally worth it. If I had to do it over again, I'd still be an entrepreneur. I love the journey, and I've learned so much, and it's been awesome.
I mean, we're not seeing the last of you at all. I think you're only 29. You
Mhm.
have a lot of life to live. And once you're an entrepreneur, you're always an entrepreneur, right? So I look forward to following you and seeing some other businesses that you're going to start, right? And again, remember, any of our guests, that they're very giving. They've all got fantastic hearts, and I'm
Mhm.
sure they'll be more than happy to respond to you, reach out to you, and say, let's collaborate. How can we help? Because
Oh yeah.
really, when you love what you do, you want to help others, you want to
Mhm.
serve others, right? It's not all about me, me, me. What can I do for you? It was absolutely fantastic having you on the show.
Thank you. Can I give you? Are you going to put in the show notes how people can get in touch with me, or like if somebody does want to collaborate, can I give you a way for them to do that?
Absolutely. We are going to include all of your contact information as part of our show notes, but please do
Okay.
tell my friends how they can get in touch with you.
Oh, so our website is getinca getinca.com, and then there's a contact form on there that goes to an email that I monitor. But if you want to reach out to me directly, my email is ammon, AMMON at getinca.com. because yeah, I'd love to collaborate with it sounds like you have an amazing audience, and I'd love to get in touch with a few of them.
Fantastic. Thank you again. And Ammon, please reach out to me offline, reach out to any of my guests. We'll be more than happy to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. Thank you once again for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
Absolutely. And friends, make sure you download the app, go to your app stores, get golegalyourself.com and contact any of our fantastic guests. They're always willing to help. You can leave me any feedback, provide me some comments, ask me questions. I can always answer them on the air. And do check out golegalyourself.com. Do it yourself legal protection, which helps you save money and gain peace of mind. I am attorney Kelly Bagla, your legal friend and the queen of business law. It's been my pleasure being your host. Until next time, cheers to your success.